This is Cherie Deville, and you are listening to Tanya Tate's Presents Skinfluencer Success podcast.
This is Tanya Tate. Skinfluencer Success.
This is Tanya Tate, and you're listening to Tanya Tate Presents Skinfluencer Success. How do you use your voice to create a space for sex workers to be heard and represented in the mainstream and politics? My guest is a multiple award-winning film actress, journalist, and sex worker advocate. She has performed in over 1,000 movies, including the top adult production companies. She's become a thought leader in the sex worker space, writing a political and sex worker column for the Daily Beast, The Hill, Yahoo, the New York Post, the Associated Press. I could keep going on. There's so many. Barstool Sports, and more news outlets have interviewed her about her politics and her insight on the sex industry. She's a licensed physical therapist and holds degrees from the University of Hartford and the University of St. Augustine. Welcome, Cherie Deville, to the Skinfluencer Success podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to be on.
I'm so excited. I was like, the list was so long. I'm like, well, I'm just going to read it all out. Cherie, you are just amazing. I'm so honored to have you on here. It's
Stop it. You're an icon. I'm happy to be here.
Do you know, Cherie, you are so busy. We tried to get you on the podcast a few times, but you are just super busy getting booked for shoots. So it's like now finally I'm like, I got you on my podcast.
We made it happen at long last, but like that's the tease. It's better, right? If you wait a little.
This is you teasing me, Cherie.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. But you know what? First of all, I'm going to say a big, massive congratulations to you, Cherie, on winning your awards. So you got the AVN MILF of the Year, and you also got the X-Biz Performer of the Year. It's like
it's still blowing my mind.
The Performer of the Year, not just like MILF or female or, girl Performer of the Year. Of course, there are other titles for Performer of the Year, but you got the Performer of the Year.
I can't. I honestly, if you see the video of when I won, I was just looked like someone cattle prodded me. I was so surprised. I was like, wait, what? Somebody has made a terrible error and called out my name. So I still can't believe it.
Yeah, that's so amazing. And just congratulations, because it's deserved,
Oh, thank you.
Yes, it is. But, I know so much about you, but the people that hear might not know anything about you. So tell everyone who you are and how did you get into the industry?
Yeah, so I am Cherie Deville. I got into the adult industry in my early 30s. I actually had no intention of being a pornographer or being a porn star or a sex worker. I was a physical therapist. I enjoyed experimenting with my sexuality. I enjoyed going to swingers clubs. So I was sort of in that arena in some ways. And once I was very comfortable, one of my friends, a photography friend of mine, recommended that if I was so comfortable at the swingers clubs and I was so comfortable expressing my sexuality, why don't you go on a website that they were a part of, Model Mayhem, and maybe make some money doing something you're comfortable doing, which would be taking nude photos, doing nude videos, sort of like an amateur photographer, amateur model, which I was at that time. And so I said, oh my goodness, I could make money, maybe doing these things I was sort of doing on the weekends anyway. So I did. I joined Model Mayhem and I was enjoying it. I would, sometimes on the weekends, I'd make a little spending cash, taking some photos, collaborating with other artists. And that was great. And that is what I thought that would be the extent of it. That was just an enjoyable sort of side hustle. Until my current agent at OC Modeling found me on one of the sites that I was a part of. And she said, would you like to fly to Los Angeles and shoot a pornographic film? And I was like, me? What? I wouldn't have known. Like, I didn't know anything about the world. I wouldn't have had any idea of how one even started down the path to be, an adult actress. So again, at the time I was not thinking that's it. This is going to be my career. I thought, wow, you only live once. I'm going to fly to Los Angeles and make a porn. Like, this is the coolest thing. I thought I would go. I would shoot the 3 to 5 films, whatever it is she had set up for me. I would go home back to Nashville. And then when I was 80, I'd be like, look at what I did. Like, wow. This is just, I just thought it was cool, just extremely cool. I contacted a lawyer, made sure I couldn't lose my physical therapy license for participating, in this, because that was my actual career. Again, did not think that this was going to become what it was. So I went and I shot my films and I stayed at the model house and I loved it. Like, I loved it. I loved the people. I loved being on set. I loved feeling glamorous. I loved expressing myself on film. And so I kept, every other month I was coming to LA for a few weeks. And then every month I was coming to LA for a few weeks. And then I was splitting my time between Nashville and LA until that became overwhelming. And I'm like, girl, like, you're doing it. Like, this is not a side hustle. This is taking up more than 50% of your time at this point. Move. You've got to, this is stressful going back and forth. You've got to move to Los Angeles. And so 9 years ago, I moved to Los Angeles, and I really, at that point, committed to it and made therapy my occasional thing and the adult industry my full-time job, which still blows my whole mind.
Well, I'm so glad that you made that move. And I can remember, I'm trying to remember, put my finger on the exact time that we met. I don't remember. Do you remember?
It was probably early on, because for years I was only shooting girl. And so I probably worked with you toward the beginning, maybe in a girlfriend's films or
girlfriend's
something.
films. That's probably what it was.
Like Girls in White, probably.
Probably, yeah.
Or at least I was on set with you and going like, how am I on set with these icons? I don't even belong here.
No, you caught my eye, and I remember you being there. We were on set together, and I remember you saying about you doing your physical therapy, and you were traveling backwards and forwards. I remember that. I think I was directing for Philly Films at that time, and I was like,
yes,
I have got to have this girl in my movie. I was like, I need you. I need you. So I actually booked you for, I know I booked you for one of my movies.
Yeah.
And it was probably, I think it was like the babysitter one where I had the Babysitting Academy, Tanya Tate's Babysitting Academy.
I've definitely done your Babysitter Academy.
You was the strappy mum that was going to wanted the babysitter to get fired. The owner of the agency and the babysitter had to come and placate you.
I bet they did a really good job, to my recollection. I feel like it was very effective. I feel like I was completely satisfied after the experience.
Well, you definitely kept the babysitter on.
It sounds right. It all sounds right.
Sounds legit. I know we've shot more than one scene. We've shot, and it's amazing to here's the thing, for some of us in this industry, you make friends, and when you have like-minded people, you really stick to them, and you are one of those people. Like, I see you're professional, you're really sweet, you're kind, you do an amazing job. And, we, between the years we've interacted, and we've shot content together, not for production companies, for our own fans individually. And every time that I am with you, it's so professional and so fun.
I feel the same way. That's how I like to keep it. I want to have fun because I love my job, but there are also, little boxes that you have to check to, whether it's paperwork, testing, all that stuff. So there does have to be kind of that balance. Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely got that balance. But you shot for all the production companies. I've just remembered one that we shot together for Kink.
Tell me.
King Junior.
Yes. Yes. I
Poor
love
Cherie. I
King.
think you was about to get married, and it was
That
like,
was that was a feature. That was huge
yeah,
for
I
me,
was
at least. That was a huge big deal for me.
that was a deep scene. Like
Yeah.
that was intense. And
Yeah.
Cherie is just like, oh, I'm okay. And I was just like, this is really intense, Cherie. Are you okay? Oh, I'm okay. I'm loving this. And I was just like, okay, this girl has definitely got something. Because
That was an awesome scene, and I felt just really honored to kind of be the main character in it, At that point in my career, I hadn't been honored, people weren't asking me, "Do features, we want you to be the star," so I felt really, really special, yeah.
it was like 3 girls on 1, wasn't it?
Or
Is it
more.
4? Was it
I
4
feel like
girls
there was
on
a
1?
fair few, like, bridesmaids, and then there was
Yeah.
that book where they called me out, and then it got real.
I did. So your popularity grew, and let's talk about you being a contract star for Brazzers. I mean, this is a
Goals.
big feat. Tell me, how did that come about?
I'll be honest. So I've wanted that since they started taking contract girls. I was like, oh, that is everything that I want. So I told my agent, I told my friends, I had people going, hey, Cherie wants to be like, I just honestly feel like I just kept begging for it. I was like, please make me a contract girl. I want this so bad. And eventually they said yes. And I
Oh,
got to do it. And I'm
congratulations.
thrilled, thrilled.
Yeah. I mean, you call it begging, but actually, I'm going to put different words on that. I'm going to put it that you wanted it, you thought about it, you pictured yourself there, and it was like
I
your
did.
manifestation. And yeah, okay, you told people, gentle
Mhm.
reminders to the universe, put it out there, getting the fans excited, getting them wanting it. And sometimes this is what I say: if you want something that much and you've got it pictured in your head and you're aiming towards it, you're gonna get there. And
Yeah, there is something to be said about, well, first of all, I'm always been a person who's had a lot of direction and focus and put a lot of thought into, especially once I realized that this isn't just a side hustle, this is my career, then I got really serious about, okay, well, if this is your career, what do you want? What are your goals in this space? And I've always, each year or every few months, I make a list of, well, what would you like to achieve? What does next year and the year after and 10 years from now look like in your mind? And that changes all the time, of course, as the industry changes, as opportunities change, as doors have become open to me. I've been blessed to be able to reach a level that I in no way thought was going to come true for me. So yeah, man, it's been a ride.
that's what I like. It's like, sometimes when you get successful people, and I said to you right at the beginning, do you like manifest or meditate? And you literally said to me, no, but
No.
you do.
Maybe,
Look,
yeah, maybe just
look,
like not in
you
those
do.
words. I'm more of like, to me, I'm like, I've made a business plan, but it's just, at that point, it's just, what verbiage are you using? Whether you say business
Yes.
plan or manifest or mood board or whatever it is, it's
Yeah.
all being focused, being goal oriented, having awareness of what it is that you desire and trying to create a life where you are taking the steps to reach the goals that you want.
E- exactly. That's what it's all about. Someone says to me, oh, what's your 5-year plan? What's your 10-year plan? And I'm just like, we're not going to get that far. I know. I sit there and I picture in my head what I want to be, where I want to be in that situation in 10 years' time, but I've not got a plan. Like, this is how I'm going to get there. And I think
Right.
sometimes for some of us, that's quite difficult. Like, it's very corporate. I always think it's very corporate, and we are business-minded people, and we do make plans, but it's not in the same way, and it's not in the same words. But
Yeah.
it's making a plan of these are the things that you want. And I like that you write them down and it changes.
Mhm.
So then, every so often you're going to sit down, you're going to be like, well, let's look at the plan again. Where are we up to? What are we going to change? It could just be something as simple as these are some of the goals that you want, and write it down.
Yeah, I do. I literally have, because I'm an on paper girl, in my office, I have my 10-year plan, 5-year plan, 3-year plan, and then I break it down from there. But I love organization. And not that those visions for my life don't change, but I really enjoy even year to year going back and being like, well, what was it that I wanted for myself 10 years from now? Is that still appropriate? Are we going to make changes? Has a new avenue in my job opened up where we need to like create a plan for that item? Like, I don't know, like OnlyFans, for example, just sort of sprung onto the scene. So, stuff like that. But not all my goals are work oriented. On those lists, I have life goals and goals for charities and like all kinds of different like interpersonal relationship goals and all of it. Yeah.
I love that. And it's not just all about work, is it? It's all
No.
about, getting that balance. And for you as, a licensed therapist, like I know you understand how important it is to have that like life career balance. So how do you get that? What do you do to keep that balance?
I'm terrible at that balance, honestly. I do think I might be a little bit of a workaholic. So as odd as this sounds, I schedule in my calendar days off and self-care days, because if I don't schedule them, I will literally book myself back to back in a never ending block of work. So strangely enough, I actually schedule days off, and I leave them open. Even if some amazing opportunity comes along, if it comes along on my day off, I've learned, as hard as it is, to just say no, because I have lived in this industry without saying no, being like feeling this terrible feeling of like FOMO, like fear of missing out, fear that I'm going to pass up an important opportunity, but then working myself into the ground to a point where the quality of my work suffers, the quality of my interpersonal relationship suffers. I'm not meeting my other life goals. So I've learned that my time off and my time with friends and my time with family needs to be prioritized as much, which is so hard for me, as much as my work time.
It is. It's like so tricky to, schedule stuff. I'm a scheduler, and I'll be like, people will want to shoot with me, and I'll be like, okay, well, let's look at my calendar like weeks ahead. And
Or
if someone,
months.
yeah, like months. For me, a lot of my content is really just with other people, so I
Yeah.
can, and I don't do as much. So my schedule is not as busy, and a lot of my schedule is very repetitive. You
Mm-hmm.
know, the video chats, the premium social media, the shoots, the podcast, being a mom.
Yeah.
It's like you have set things that are there every single week, and then you work around it. I like that. That's really it's a really good point to bring up, that schedule yourself time off, and don't be afraid to say no to the
Yeah.
job.
Saying no is so hard for me, but it is I'm so glad I learned to do that. I'm in such a better place now than I was, 5 years ago, where I was working on set almost every day of the week, month in and month out, creating content at night when I got home, doing all of my computer work, all of my editing, all of my photos, all of my organization. It was too much.
Yeah.
But I didn't understand how I could step out of that hamster wheel, and I just had to make myself do it.
So you were doing everything. So does that lead me to think that maybe now, like, you've given some of the tasks for the people that you
Yeah.
can give to the tasks, such as editing,
Yeah.
doing the photos. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, delegating, I'm a hardcore micromanager of myself. And I was really scared to delegate because this is going to sound terrible, but I'm like, no one can do it as well as I can. So I should just do it myself, was part of the reason. And the other part of the reason is, well, I can do it myself. Why should I pay part of
Yeah.
what I consider my salary to another person to do something I'm very capable of doing, not time-wise, but just, so those were really big hurdles for me to get over, to write down tasks that didn't need Cherie Deville. Like, only I can shoot my films, only I can be me on my platforms. Like, there are some things that only I can do because I'm me, but I don't need to be editing. I don't need to be uploading. I don't need to be organizing my paperwork. I don't need to be doing all kinds of things that I've learned to delegate. Even some of my home tasks I've delegated to create more space for me to do podcasts and create content and do the things that I need to do for my business to not stagnate. And that was the other thing that I learned. I could have kept doing, let's just assume I would never burn out, which I did, but let's just assume even burnout wasn't an issue. I still needed to delegate things to other people because then there's more time for me to do things. Like, if I was doing every day working, then coming home and shooting content, messaging my fans, doing all that stuff, then how am I going to spend an adequate amount of time creating appropriate social media content for my brand? How am I going to be on the podcasts that expand my reach? How am I going to have time to write? How am I going to have time for advocacy? So there are, even if I weren't talking about my mental health, which I most certainly am, I still needed to pay the money to get other people to do non-Cherie Deville tasks so that my business or my empire or whatever you want to call it could really go to another level of not just finances, but it helped. So my fear was that I was giving away part of my salary, but every time I hire a new employee, my salary goes up way more than I'm paying them.
Yeah.
So it's just interesting. Yeah.
You finding the right people to do the right jobs.
Yeah.
Sometimes I look, and I look at my things that I'm doing, and I've literally sat down and like, okay, I've got this content, and I feel like I'm just like swimming around. And Cherie, I need to take a leaf out of your book. I need to find someone to start uploading to the other platforms.
You do the messaging, you do the videos, you do the live chats, but you don't literally need to be sitting there while it uploads. You could, have people writing descriptions, doing hashtags. Once this podcast is done, editing it, uploading it to YouTube, managing the comments, like all that stuff that like, I know you can do, but like, you could also do you,
I do. Well, I do have an editor that works with me
Nice.
on this, and I do have a small team that helps. So the podcast is one of the things that I definitely do get help with. It's like, yes, I can't do. But we will look at some of the other stuff as well. But Cherie, I want to talk to you because you are on a lot of platforms. The premium social media platforms. So talk to us about some of the platforms that you're on, and what are some of the fan experiences that the fans can expect on there?
So like most performers at the moment, OnlyFans has kind of taken over as most of our primary money-making platforms. So just like before, when Snapchat was the jam, or before that when it was Pornhub and ManyVids and Clips for Sale, whatever's making me the most money is what I'm going to delegate the most time to. So right now, my OnlyFans members are getting most of my time, whether it's messaging, they get my content first, so when you and I shoot a scene, they get it before any of my other platforms. And then, depending on what my primary platform is, it kind of trickles down from there. My primary platform will get my newest stuff and my most personal attention. Right now, my second one is Snapchat. Then the clip stores fall under that. Then premium tube site, then regular tube site is kind of my current content flow. But man, that's an ever-changing monster in and of itself,
Thinking about, those platforms. For me, I have OnlyFans and Sex Panther. Like, they're the two main ones that I have. But yeah, I'm sitting on that other content. So actually, I've started like literally, I've made a task for myself. This is a task to upload everything that I've got on my hard drives to Dropbox. So that's the first task. So I'm starting.
I don't think, does Dropbox even offer a service big enough for that to be viable? I bet you have a lot of content.
There's a plan. I was looking the other day and I'm like, oh, I've just used 27% of it so far. And I'm like, I think I'll be upgrading soon. But
Yeah.
sometimes it's like to just have it somewhere so that I can, have specific team members be able to access it. Because right now it's all on my hard drives. So I think that's one of my first tasks that I'm going to be working on. So,
delegating someone to work on.
they're at my home. So once they're on Dropbox, then I can delegate.
Valid. I tell you what I did. I actually physically mailed. I have copies of all my hard drives, but I physically mailed copies of my hard drives to someone to do a similar task for me, to organize them better, to get my paperwork and the scenes curated so that they were like labeled like this is boy girl, this is girl, this is, and then subcategories of like different fetishes or content. So I don't know. I loved it. I loved having someone do that for me. I can give you my person.
Right. Oh my goodness. We are moving forward today. We definitely are. So I want to go back to browsers because I'm really interested in this. Okay. So me and you, our main place is OnlyFans. However, you being the contract star with browsers, so you get the scenes that come out, the benefits of being a contract star. You're guaranteed so many scenes a year, you paid so much, whatever your deal is. But there are other things, other benefits that you're getting. So talk to us about some of the other benefits that you're getting as being a browsers contract star.
Yeah. So first, I'd like to say that I'm currently in a really privileged place in my career where I financially do not need to shoot scenes for other people. So because I'm in that place, that's sort of why, I just want to preface what I'm about to say because everyone's in a different place in their career. For most of my career, I absolutely needed the money from the scenes that I was getting, so I'll just start there. But for me, my browsers contract, while they pay me very well for my scenes, I'm extremely happy. I have not a single complaint in the world. I hope I stay with them forever. But what I really enjoy about my contract is that browsers is a huge site and they have pockets that are deeper than mine in terms of advertising. So when I shoot a scene for a top company like browsers, it is in their best interest to advertise that scene because that's how they make their money. And in advertising that scene that I'm in, they're advertising me in a way that I could honestly never afford. So not only am I getting paid a wonderful salary for performing in that scene, but I'm being provided with an amazing amount of traffic from a top site, an amazing amount of publicity that I could never afford myself. And not only does that help browsers, but it helps all of the things that I sell on my own. Really, I came up in a time before premium social media, before really it was viable for us to be anything. I mean, I had CherieDeville.com, as a lot of us did, but it wasn't a huge, I wasn't like, wow, CherieDeville.com is making so much money. Like it wasn't until, so I had the benefit of all of the porn companies that I worked for paying money into advertising and building my name for me. I did not build my name. The money that all of the companies that I've worked for these past 12 years built my name. And I'm just lucky enough to get to use that advertising dollars to pivot it to my sites. And I still am feeling the benefits of that when I work for browsers. They're a giant brand. They advertise beautifully. Their social media is outstanding. And I benefit from not just the rate they pay me per scene, but from their expertise in marketing.
Yeah, it is. It's just like free marketing. And I'm going to have to add something there. It's you put in the work as well, Cherie. So you put in the work, you make them a good product, a good scene. It's something that they can sell and make money from. So, I'm giving
it was very symbiotic for sure, but I really have respect for the OnlyFans models who are their own marketing geniuses. I'm well aware that I'm standing on the money of all the companies that built me. So the girls that have somehow marketed themselves, like ladies, well, gentlemen, non-binary, y'all are the superstars.
people of everything. There
Yeah.
are this like you really do hear this, and I've discussed this with like other porn performers. I'm like, we make money. Like people know me because I've been in movies. You know, I've got the podcast. I was a radio host on Vivid for 7 years. Different things that I've done, and I'm out there. But people come from nowhere, and they have hundreds of thousands of followers. And I'm like, why?
That's
And
amazing.
this, because one of the main things, the difference with us and them, that is the only one place that they can be seen.
Mhm.
Like the only place is if you go in behind the paywall. For example, Jenny Neidhart, who's Natalia, she's a wrestler. The sisters, one's a wrestler and one was not a wrestler. And I'll tell you, they had a YouTube channel, and Jenny is very sexy, very, very sexy, very voluptuous.
Mhm.
And I talked to her and I was like, you need to start a Twitter. You need to start a Twitter. She's like, it's so overwhelming. I'm like, start a Twitter.
Start it.
You will get direct links to your OnlyFans. I kid you not,
Yes.
she started it. I told her, and I'm going to take the credit for this, Jenny, because I know you did it because I was on at you. She started it. She was like 20,000 followers on Twitter in a couple of days, like 2 days. So what she did, I saw what she did. She was teasing, and teasing. And eventually it was just like, it all got too much. And she must have thought, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And the fans kept asking. And I mean, I don't know how successful she is, but I know she's very successful because that is the only place that you can see her is on OnlyFans behind that paywall.
Which is epic. I mean, all of us can be seen for free across all the tube sites. Yeah.
Yes.
For better or worse.
It has its pros and its cons. It's pros in that people find you and know you and see you, and so you get in the advertising. You've got the added benefits of being the Brazzers. The Brazzers giving you the free marketing. I'm living off the old Brazzers scenes. Mine are not new.
You got this.
Mine's old stuff. But in another way as well, our cross promotion, like you and me. We took a picture the other day at the award show. Me, you, and Alexis Fox. 3 MILFs. We've all won MILF
Dream team.
Yeah. At some point we've been nominated many times. 3-way dream team. And just that picture, just how many fans just liked that picture, on Twitter.
Every time I'm anywhere near or work with another MILF, my fans, it's like their wet dream. Like they love it. When I work with you, those scenes crush my like I assumed when I started shooting my own content that where I was going to make my money would be kind of like what the studios do. They're always putting me with someone younger, right?
Yeah.
So that's how I started doing it. I'm like, well, this is what the studios do. This is what I'm going to do. Oh, no. I do that. And my fans love that. But it doesn't touch the amount that they love me with another MILF. Wow. They just love it.
Well, me and you, we've got something coming up soon. I know.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil it. But it wasn't really planned for you. But you was going to be there and I was going to be coming. And I went, just get Cherie to stay.
Oh, I'll stay. The moment you're like, can you stay? I'm like, I'm there. I don't know what I was supposed to be doing, but it's nothing but that now.
We're not going to give too much away because we're going to make it happen first. But it was like, this is what's happening in this box. And then it was like the person before is going to be, and they're finishing at this time. And I'm, well, who is it? It's Cherie Deville. Well, her finishing time is now over here.
Yeah, we've changed her stop time.
And I literally said, if it was anybody else, I would not have asked them to stay. I would have come after they'd left because I want to work with, number one, girls I love, girls that are professional. And at the same time, I'm also thinking we're our own self-marketers. So, we know me and you do a scene, you send fans to me, I send fans to you.
Oh, yeah.
We've got mixed fans. And I want to make sure if I'm going to be working with that other person, like their fan base, are they going to want them come and join me? That's what I'm interested in.
And
are they going to want to click on
Are they good at marketing? If you work with a girl, even if your fans love them, And they're not like, I'm happy to tag you across all my platforms. I'll promote the heck out of you on all my social media, and I enjoy working with other performers who will also do that for me. So we can not just have this beautiful piece of content to sell, but we're really doing a whole cross promotion scenario so that we really both end up a little bit better off at the end.
I was looking at your Twitter because my Twitter, I got a little bit behind with Twitter. So I'm like, okay, I need some inspiration. And I literally went onto your Twitter. I hope I didn't copy too much.
Do it.
But-
Copy it
but-
all.
but
What do I copy it all? I'll tell you
No,
exactly what I do.
I was looking to see what you were doing, and I love it. It's like, this is my new scene that's coming out tomorrow on OnlyFans, and here I am with Danny Daniels. You just look so cute in these snowsuits out in the snow, and I was like, that looks like fun. And it was like the little description, and it was like a little tease line, and it was like, you come in exclusive to OnlyFans,
Mhm.
and I loved it. And I thought, okay, Cherie, it's like, you gotta look at what other successful people are doing. You're successful, I'm successful, we do different things. And this is great, because this is what I love about this podcast, is that we're sharing information. Like,
Well, let me tell you another Twitter secret Alexis Fox turned me on to. So I pre-schedule all of my tweets weeks and weeks in advance on Hootsuite. And it has totally saved my life. So I don't have to pick up my phone. I don't have to go on social media, and everyone feels differently, but to me, looking at too much social media doesn't bring me joy. So I stay off of it as much as possible. So when I use like pre-scheduling tools like Hootsuite, it really, one, it makes sure I get things out at the right times of day. Two, I can do it when I'm feeling like calm and centered and at my computer, and it's not rushed and I'm saying just what I want to say. And other secret, I now have someone helping me do that. So I am not doing very much of that anymore. So another great thing to delegate.
It's great that you can post it. I use another app called Hyperfury, and
I'm sure they're all.
Yeah, you have to pay for this one, and the reason why I liked it is because I can go in and I can tell it to retweet after a certain amount of time, and I can tell it to, if it hits so many, I can get it to tweet a link to OnlyFans or a link to Sex Panther or whatever. So it's a little bit different, and I thought I'd give it a try, and I quite like it. So, but yeah, there are free tools out there.
One little warning I will just give any performers listening. I have been told by multiple sources to not use third-party pre-scheduling apps for Instagram. I've been told that can flag your account. However, I did notice a few days ago, and I think they might be rolling this out. I don't know if everyone has access to this, but you can now pre-schedule reels and posts in the Instagram app under advanced settings when you're about to post. This week is the first week that all of my Instagram, not all, but most of my Instagram posts were pre-scheduled. So we'll see.
Oh, nice. That's exciting. See, these are all different branding tools. There are different ways to be making money, to be making cash, as
so
well.
Many.
Yeah, you just gotta like be there, be open to the opportunities. And I'm gonna put it out there in the universe right now. I'm open to opportunities for taking on new staff to help with all the delegation of the Twitter and upload and taking my hard drives. Cherie, you've inspired me.
I'm gonna give you some people that might be able to help you.
I love that. Thank you.
Also, I don't know why this came to my head, because I've heard this from a lot of performers. So like, I just want to be clear. So like, you're not paying me to be on this podcast, and I'm not paying you to have me on this podcast. Right?
Correct.
Because I feel like this is incredibly valuable, because it's promoting me and, there. So I've heard from a lot of performers that they expect to be paid to be on podcasts. Oh, wow. And I would just love to say, first of all, do whatever you're comfortable with. I'm not trying to tell people to do things for free, but I would like to say that you might want to think about the fact that when I go on this podcast, I might not be getting paid in cash today, but I do feel like I'm getting paid. I'm being paid in eyeballs, which to me is far more valuable than cash, because each eyeball might be cash later on, a day from now, a week from now, a year from now. They might become a follower on one of my premium or non-premium platforms. And who knows what product I will come out with in the future that they might be interested in, whether it's clothing, a toy, a scene. So I do kind of want to encourage people to possibly change their mindset about a lot of these podcasts and to consider going on some of them for free as a promotional tool.
I appreciate that, Cherie. It is, it's, this podcast, it goes out, it's on all of the main podcast platforms. So it's on Spotify, Apple, Audible,
Huge.
all of the big main ones. It's out there. Anyone can listen to, anyone can hear you. We talk about, we're talking about Cherie Deville, OnlyFans. I mean, it's not hard. Google it. And it's bang, they're there. They found you. Cherie Deville, Twitter, Google that. They found you. And
Yeah.
it's about different guys, girls, people, there's
People.
people finding you and becoming a fan, or just checking in, or just following you, and your numbers are adding up.
Yeah.
And you are getting seen. It does go on YouTube as well, so you've got YouTube that it's on. So it's definitely something that you are getting paid in a different way.
Money in
but
your
it's not
pocket today
like
is not the only valuable type of money, you know?
Yeah. Thank you. I like that. Words of wisdom from Cherie. On your Twitter, you say, a lot of people will say, hey, join my OnlyFans for free. Here's a free trial. And, or I'll say, hey, like for a certain period, a sale, and here I am, and join for the next 2 weeks, you can go and join my OnlyFans for free. And I give them that because that's what I do with my marketing tool. But I noticed that you do something different. So you say, here's a free trial. So I go, I'll just click on it from Twitter, and it goes on to Cherie's fans. And I'm like, how does this work? I'm looking at it, I'm like, I gotta ask it.
So let me tell you why I do that. I'm giving them a free trial in exchange for their email address. And the reason I think that that's incredibly valuable, so they don't get the free trial until they give me their email address. And the reason I think, especially for people in the sex worker space, that having a collection of your own email addresses, just like every top company does, you better believe OnlyFans has one, you better believe Braz, all of these companies are collecting email addresses, but it's incredibly important for us because we lose our social media constantly.
Yeah.
So sure, I might have X number of followers on Instagram or TikTok, which I just lost again, or Twitter, but tomorrow I might not have any of them. And that's extremely realistic, but they can't take away my email list. And I've been using different tools to create these email lists, throughout my career. And that's just my current tool. So I would highly recommend every performer it's never too late, begins to curate an email list, not just because you will lose your social media here, there, and wherever. What if I come out with a merch line? What if I start selling barbecue sauce? Like, I need to be able to blast out to my fans my stuff. So it's just unbelievably valuable.
I love that. I was wondering what that was about. So that is a super smart tool. I was listening to something the other day, and it was saying, like, we're going to be going back the full circle, and it was implied that email lists are going to become the thing again.
To me, they've always been the thing, especially since we've all lost all of our social media so many times. I'm so blessed to have any eyeballs I have at the moment, but I just don't trust them. You know what I mean? I feel like I just want like the emails like in my hot little hand where no one can grasp them away from me,
I'm just like, oh my goodness. I'm making so many notes today with you, Cherie.
Yeah, I use Systeme. I can give you all the information. There's a million ways. I use GMAS and Systeme, but like I'm not saying those are the only ones you could use, but just as a suggestion.
Yeah. I'm going to get this. I'm sorry, everybody, but I'm just going to keep Cherie back after this because I know.
I'll give you all of it. I'll give you all my information. I'll even give you the name of the guy who helped me make the website that collects the email list. He was a very reasonable price, and he helped me and other models, and he's just super nice and very reasonably priced, and I'd be happy
So
to pass that along.
professional. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's so professional. And if anyone else is listening and they want to know that information, are they able to
Yeah.
like tweet at you?
Absolutely. I just don't know if like this person wants me to like spit their name out publicly, but I'm happy to give this information to anybody.
Well, they can tweet at you and you can give it to them
Yes.
privately. You
Yes, I
know,
would be
as
very
opposed
happy to
to
do
as
that.
opposed to me saying, here's Cherie's email address. It's
Yeah.
like, no. Tweet her and then make sure your
Tweet me.
DMs are open. So if
Yeah.
she wants to, if she, you
Yeah.
know, if someone valid that, it's not just a fan like, hey, what's the it's like
Right. Other
check,
models, feel
check
free.
your Twitter to make sure you're an actual model first.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So one of the things that I really see as you as a standout person is your advocacy work and your writing, and you know, you've got a column in the Daily Beast where you talk about sex and politics. So first of all, I want to know how that got started and how the hell does sex and politics go together in one column?
Basically, I'm just very lucky to have an incredible PR team at the Moment Lab. Matt and his team are awesome. They help me with everything under the sun. They've helped me get onto mainstream, non-adult podcasts. They've helped me do the incredible podcast, The Argument, for the New York Times. They've helped me really reach into the mainstream sphere in a way that I feel like sex workers are not often given the opportunity to do. And so they actually had a contact at the Daily Beast and said, no, seriously, she can really do this. Why don't you let her write something and just see, if you're interested in. So they made the connection for me. And then I guess, my writing, not to toot my own horn, convinced them that yes, indeed, you should, continue to give this person a, opinion column. So it's something I wanted, but I, again, did not know how to go about getting for myself because I just didn't even have the context or the contacts to do that. So they were really helpful in facilitating that. Yeah.
So give us some examples of some of the things that you've been writing about.
Anything I get pissed off about, really. Like if the two things, like if I'm pissed and I have a little extra time, then an article gets created. Sometimes I'm pissed with no extra time and I drop the ball on an important moment, in politics or like adult or stuff that's happening in the sex worker space. But if I have a little extra time and I'm mad, that's how a column gets created usually.
So some of the viewers, the listeners will be thinking, well, what has politics got to do with sex? But it's got a lot to do with sex.
First of all, adult film was not always legal. Performing in the way that we perform was not always legal. And we are seriously blessed to be able to work in a legal and regulated sphere. And it is highly regulated. I don't think a lot of people understand. And I love regulation. I come from healthcare. Some people are like, ew, regulation. I'm like, regulation. So like, I love it because it makes me feel really safe. Again, that's just the world that I grew up in. So I feel very privileged to work in a legal space. And as people might notice, a lot of the public doesn't like us that much. There's a pretty heavy stigma, and there's always different groups of people trying to make what we do not legal anymore, which is ridiculous for a lot of reasons. I would like to say to anyone trying to make this not legal, adult film and sex work has been here since the beginning of time and will always be here. If you succeed in making this not legal, you're harming the workers. You're wiping our safety. You're destroying our ability to regulate, and you are harming a seriously marginalized group. So the fact that we are legal and regulated keeps us safe. It keeps the viewers safe. It makes sure everyone is consenting and of legal age. So I think people who are trying to make this illegal need to take a very close look at what they're actually trying to do, because usually the answer is, religious bullshit and not actually for people or safety. They try and wrap it up in this beautiful little package for the public to consume. We're keeping women safe. We're keeping children safe. We don't have children in our films. And trust me, the women, men, and non-binary people in porn are extremely safe, extremely tested, extremely consensual. And there are multiple people on set every time we shoot, making sure that is always the case. If you make this illegal, you are creating a violently unsafe environment for us. So yes, as you can tell, I'm extremely passionate about educating the public, because the people on the other side are given the microphone frequently. They're given platforms in the United Nations. They're given platforms in prominent magazines. They're given platforms on Netflix. They're given mainstream platforms 1,000 times to every half of a time that we're given a platform to state our side. So the public doesn't know what's really going on. They're often gaslighting the public with false information to try and get what's usually a religious. They don't want us around. And they're gaslighting the public with false statistics and false information to make the public, oh my God, we want children to be safe. We want women to be safe. Let's cancel this, without really giving them the appropriate information to say that, no, that's not the result that's going to take. It needs to be legal. It needs to be regulated, or at the very least decriminalized, to keep us safe. So.
Yeah. And
I'm very passionate about speaking out whenever I can.
So I love, Cherie, that you are so passionate about that. It's just like, let's give sex workers a voice. Let's get us heard. Like, this is us and this is the opposition. Like, so there are other people that are going to be listening right now, listening and watching, because of course this is a video podcast as well. So they're listening and watching, and they're like, you know what, I am passionate. I am passionate about something, whether they are a model, or, someone in the industry, someone that works within the industry. They could be anyone, makeup, production. Maybe they're a fan. Maybe they're a writer. Maybe they're a reviewer. Maybe they just watch adult movies and they don't want that opportunity to be taken away. What can someone do if they want to start advocating for our community?
Well, I think that's the beautiful thing about living in 2023. It's not 1990 anymore, where it's hard to create a website. It's hard to get yourself out to the public. We all have the ability to create social media, to create a YouTube channel, to start a podcast, to just yell into the void until people are watching. You could post on your Twitter, you could have a blog, you could start a YouTube, you could start an educational TikTok channel, like I know a lot of people have. There are almost infinite ways to get that message out there, even if you don't, have the opportunity to write for a column. Because I bet if you say, I'll just use TikTok as an example, if you started a educational TikTok channel and built up some followers and found people who are passionate about you, that would get you opportunities to grow outside of the sphere of TikTok, for example.
Yeah. No, that is good. It's like building a community of education, whether it be, you got the opportunity to write, maybe they can write too, but it's trying to get that out there, to get that seen, to be able to like reach out to somebody to be like, hey, this is what I'm writing. I mean, there are other places that you can write for as well. You can submit to experts.
Yeah.
I know they really like pieces of information. If you were to write a big piece to educate people about something that's really important, like experts would love that, if it's well written. But of course, not everybody's a writer. So
yes, but maybe they like to do videos. Maybe they like to talk more. Maybe there's no wrong answer. There's really, or if you don't like talking or writing, then you can repost some writing or talking of someone else that you do agree with, so there's a million ways to create and or amplify messages that you enjoy.
Yeah. And that includes retweeting Cherie's latest column. When I see it, you can always just send me a little text, Cherie, because I'm like you, I don't always sit on Twitter.
Yeah.
You can send me a little text, and I'll be like, okay, retweet.
She did it.
I do. I do believe, in sharing people's stories. I just did a retweet the other day. I was so in awe of it. Alexis Fox, the little outfit that she wore for Xbiz, she's put it up for auction, and it's like charity. Some of the money, I don't know if all of it or some of the money's going to charity.
On Instagram today. I need to retweet that if so, because it is for charity.
It's on Twitter. It was on Twitter. I retweeted it the other day. Cherie is
look it up now.
Taking it. It's on my Twitter because I retweeted it. It's on Alexis Fox. She put it up for auction. So yeah. And I just looked at it and I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to retweet that.
I love her.
She's so lovely.
She's like, one of a kind art piece will going up for auction. Yes. And she's so funny. Retweet. Thank you. Because I don't look at Twitter anymore. Like I see a little more on Instagram, but I don't really look at the stories. So like I'm glad to be, not pun intended, be kept up to breast with what she's going on. What's going on with Alexis and her booby auction.
Oh yeah, it's fabulous. It is a fabulous piece. That is what we are all about. That is about being successful. That is about keeping that positivity, keeping that moving forward. Is there anything that you want to talk about, Cherie? Anything that you want to add, that you want to make sure that you tell them about?
All of your friends and colleagues are amazing resources, and don't be afraid to ask. I feel like every single thing that I'm doing, somebody else told me about. You know what I mean? Like I didn't just make this stuff up. Like, see what your friends are doing. See what women you look up to, men, women, non-binary people you look up to are doing. Like, I can't, if someone says no, okay, that's on them, but it cannot hurt to ask. I would also encourage people. I have tried to never be a gatekeeper of knowledge, and I have not lost a single dollar because I told every single person I can all of my secrets. Do you know what I mean? It hasn't harmed my career in any way. Helping your peers is a beautiful thing. Sharing your knowledge is a beautiful thing. And we all rise up together, as cliche as that might be. It is not going to hurt your pocketbook to share how I got my email list. It's stop with all that. Yeah.
On that note, what a beautiful ending. It's like share. And you know what? I think when you give something out there, you get it back.
Agree.
It's you're not blocking anything. There's no negative energy. You're all open, and that's going to come back to you. So thank you so much, Cherie Deville, for being on the Tanya Tate Presents Skinfluencer Success podcast. And just for everyone, where can they find Cherie Deville online?
At the moment, I still have my Instagram, which is Cherie Deville XO. My Twitter is Cherie Deville. But you know what? Google me. You'll find a lot of stuff.
Yeah. And you got a link tree as well?
I do have a link tree, although I don't know how to plug that.
Just Google Linktree Cherie Deville and it'll come up.
Thank you. I didn't even know that. There you go.
I have one too. But thank you so much, Cherie. You are amazing.
Thank you. You're amazing.
This is Tanya Tate. Skinfluencer Success.